Okay guys, today I'm doing a true DIY because I don't sell this. I'm just doing it for people who either do sell product and want something that's going to help them save money on washing your dishes a million times a day, because it seems like nothing makes things dirtier than making cleaning products. So I tend to do a lot of dishes every day. If you've seen my other videos, you know I lay out like 4 sets of bowls if I'm going to do 4 products, 3, 2, 1, etc. So I do a lot of dishes because I find that I'm more efficient, I have more energy when I just go from set of dishes to set of dishes to set of dishes. But at the end of the day, I have a lot of dishes. And if I'm recording, I don't put the dishwasher on because it's loud. So at night, I'll be like doing one load after another. So it's not that bad as far as energy goes, but it's that bad as far as expense goes. So what I'm going to show you is not only a better way to do it, but it's a less expensive way to do it. This actually makes your dishes cleaner. And there's 2 different ways to do it. First, I'm going to show you how to make a powder that you just sprinkle in, which is how most dishwashing powders come, is in powder form. So the first thing that you're going to want, so I have my little store-bought dishwashing, and I've covered up the name of it so that I'm not besmirching them. But if you look at the ingredients in there, it's sodium carbonate and sodium silica. So that's sodium carbonate is basically washing soda. So this is washing soda, and most people can get it at the supermarket. I can get it at the supermarket, but you can get it online probably for a lot cheaper, even with shipping. It can be a lot cheaper online. It can be a lot cheaper if you buy it like I do in the 6-pack. Now some people will say, oh, that seems really expensive. This is basically, this and the silica are basically the only 2 ingredients in your dishwashing powder for the dishwasher. So if you look at this and you replace this with just washing powder and some kosher salt, that's it. I would never use silica in my products, so I'm not going to use silica in my dishwashing powder, but you need something that scrubs. That's what the silica is. And there is natural good silica, but I don't know exactly what it is that they use, and for the most part I usually stay away from silica. So at the minimum, to duplicate that, you would use a cup of washing soda, which is the sodium carbonate, and you would use probably a sprinkle or 2 of kosher salt. If you have baked on stuff, you might want to use a little bit more salt. That's it. But we're going to make a superior product. So here we go. Okay, so the next thing that you want is you want a cup of borax. So you have your cup of washing soda and your cup of borax. Now what I normally do is I mix these in mason jars because I use it for laundry detergent as well. And I will bring you that DIY in another video as well, because it uses an ingredient that you probably haven't seen in other DIYers. Okay, so I have a cup of washing soda, not baking soda, washing soda, and a cup of borax. Now I have that, and if you add a half a cup, that's a little bit more than a half, but it's fine. If you add a half a cup of kosher salt, this is a perfectly fine recipe, and it will be a lot cheaper than going out and buying it. So that's basically nothing. Some people swear by citric acid in this, and some people say it's a waste. Well, I'm going to put, I usually put in, most recipes call for half a cup, and I put in a 1/4 cup of citric acid. And you'll see why in a minute. And if you feel that you don't want to put in any liquid or anything, you could put the whole half in here. You could also wait until the end, which is another good idea. Now, the other thing that I do use, and you don't see a lot of recipes with it, and I've tried it with it and I've tried it without it, but I prefer it with it. And that is baking soda. Now, we have washing soda and we have baking soda. So I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup of baking soda. And I like baking soda in just about everything. So I find that I've used it without baking soda and with baking soda. Now, this could go in the dishwasher and get your dishes clean just like this with no problem. If you use the citric acid at this point or at any point, make sure you have gloves on, because if you don't and you have nail polish, it's going to take it right off. So, but what I do like, and I've tried this a few different ways. I've tried unsweetened lemonade packets, and I'm not quite sure why people use it. And I've also used lemon juice, which lemon juice is fine. I use lemon juice a lot of times when I make this into tablets, but I find that the lemon juice makes it a little sticky, and I'm not quite sure if it's just the lemon smell that people are using the unsweetened lemonade packets for. You could try it without it, but I've seen people use the lemonade packets in plate, and it has to be unsweetened because the sugar will make it sticky, although the lemon juice without any sugar in it made it sticky when I used it. But people will sub out the citric acid with the unsweetened lemonade pack, so you could try that one too. I'm not crazy about the unsweetened lemonade packets. It just wasn't as successful for me as it seems to be for other people. It might be the type of water that we have or whatever, I don't know. So depending on the type of water you have, you might have to try different things. So right now we have a perfectly good recipe. And what we don't have is any citrus. I say citric so much, I can never seem to get citrus out. So we also don't have any scent to this. Sorry, I'm like, what am I thinking about? Okay, so what I want to do right now is I want to put in a little bit of d-limonene, and that is a natural degreaser. And I also want to put in some orange essential oil. So that's going to give me some degreaser and also the smell of lemon, and that's going to give me the smell of orange. So I'm going to get a little pipette and I'm going to mix some of it around. Because of citric acid in here, I don't want to set off a reaction, because citric acid will set things fizzing, which is why people use it in just about everything that's, you know, for cleaning. But I don't want to set it off. So a lot of times when I'm making these in tablet form, I will put the citric acid in after I put in my my liquids. And that helps a great deal if you wait. But I have a 1/4 cup in here. I'm going to add the d-limonene and the orange essential oil slowly and make sure that I don't set off a reaction. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you about putting it in to make a little bit of powder. And then I'm going to show you how to put it in when you want to make it a tablet. So I was going with the droppers because I wanted to be precise to show you, but it wasn't working that well. So I just put some in. There was no reaction, so that means that the other ingredients are chilling out the citric acid. So now I put in about a splash of d-limonene for a degreaser and a splash of orange essential oil for scent and a little bit of good things. So what I have here is a little damp powder. So if I put it in my little container here, that my little very expensive packets came in, this is perfectly fine. I have found that if you put lemon juice in at this point, it tends to clump it up. So d-limonene and orange essential oil doesn't, but it's a nice powder. It's really effective, very, very effective on baked on stuff. If you have some greasy stuff you want to do a little bit more d-limonene or a little more orange essential oil, that's fine. But right now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take most of this and I'm going to put it in there. I can also, at this point, add another cup another half a cup of citric acid. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on that to show you this. Now, suppose I don't have a container or I want to give this to somebody. Sometimes people are like things that are in tablet form for some reason. Some people just like to put the tablets in. And I find that depending on your dishwasher, the little brownie bites are better. Some dishwasher, the little round ones are better. So if you really know a person and what they have. So I'm going to make this wetter. So I put in a little bit of d-limonene and I'm going to put in a little more orange. And this is to make it wetter. Now, that's really quite enough. You want it to be like wet sand if you're going to make tablets. You want it to be like wet sand. And even at this point, you could dry it out and, put it back in there. You don't have to make tablets. But if you are going to make tablets, you want it to be like wet sand. So I have enough orange essential oil and I have enough d-limonene. Now, if it's not quite wet enough, or even if it is wet enough but you still want this ingredient, this is an excellent thing to add. I'm going to add some vinegar. Vinegar does a great job on cleaning your dishwasher out. So whenever I make tablets, my last liquid, I always try to make it a little dry so that I always have room to add in vinegar. So if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I put all my liquids in different type bottles. Purple is for alcohol, clear is for witch hazel. This bottle is for vinegar. So, and I like vinegar. You could put it in the powder one too. But I like to use it as my extra liquid when I do tablets. I could, easily spritz some into the powder. But a lot of times what I'll do is after I finished setting up my dishes and putting in my powder, then I'll throw some vinegar into the dishwasher right where the drain is so that it cleans the drain. So I really like the vinegar to be more concentrated. But anyway, I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of my citric acid. And I'm going to add a little bit more kosher salt. Don't put expensive salt in here, but don't put table salt in. It has to be grainy enough to do some scrubby action. So now what I'm going to do is, still not quite wet enough. I still need some more. Oh, this vinegar is not coming out, so there you go. Now that set off a reaction, so now I'm going to have to beat the clock. So you put that in here, and you want to push it down as hard as you can. I like the square brownie bites, but these little tablets work well too. Lots of times I'll put the powder in the beginning, in the little thing with the door, and then I'll throw 1 or 2 tablets in. And if you keep track of how much this stuff cost you from a major manufacturer and how much this stuff cost you and the job that each does, you're going to be very happy with this. And if you really want to cut down on the price, you can leave out just about every ingredient except for the washing soda and the salt. I mean, everything else you can basically, you know, I put the borax in because it's a detergent booster, and you definitely want your detergent boosted when you're doing the dishes. So here we have it, and it's humid here, so these are going to grow a bit. So if they start to grow, don't panic. You can either put them in a low oven, or you can put them in front of a dehumidifier, you can put them in front of the sun, whatever. But anyway, these are the tablets, and as soon as they are hard, I will bring you back. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours. I've had them in here. I just want to show you. This is the brownie bite mold. So if you have a tray in your dishwasher that would fit these better than these, you know, you might want to use this. And I've used this quite often for these, and it's really nice. The thing that you have to know about this is that if you really like it, if you use the orange essential oil, it can stain it. But you don't have to use the orange essential oil, so you just pop them right out. See? So it's got a little bit of an indentation. That's from the mold. I don't know if you could see it. It's got a little poppy thing in the middle. But if you could see it, it kind of stains this, and you know, sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. So these are them. So if you like tablets, or you want to give them to somebody, or sell them, whatever, you know, some people might like the tablets better, and there's more liquid in the tablets. I like my liquid for my tablets to be vinegar, but I always use the essential oils. Now this one, you see, it came apart. And if you're doing like a bath melt like I'm doing here, this would be, you know, a catastrophe. But in dishwashing, it's not too bad. Now if you see over here, I don't know if you could see it, it's a little sticky. The lemon juice does this as well. I think it's the orange essential oil and the lemon juice. But the lemon juice makes it a little sticky as well. So if you use the lemonade, unsweetened lemonade packets, and it comes out sticky, you might think it's that, but I don't use those, and mine come out sticky. So if you want them to be a little firmer, those were the first ones that I did. If you want them to come out a little bit firm, you leave them longer. I usually leave mine overnight. But anyway, this is, you know, this is a pretty good result. And if for some reason you took them out and they all look like this, they were all falling apart, you can just crumple them up and use them as powder. You know, no harm, no foul. So that's how to make a very inexpensive but incredibly effective dishwasher powder or dishwasher tablets. And I'm telling you, these I think are approximately 3 or 4 cents per load, which is much, much, much less expensive than anything you're gonna buy. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have fun making it.